On the night of January 18th, 2017, at approximately 9:24 p.m., the San Bernardino Police Dispatch received calls regarding the shooting that had occurred in the front of Gabby's Cafe at 1641 North Mount Vernon Avenue. Upon arrival, officers would locate the victim, who had been shot numerous times, and she would later die as a result of those gunshot wounds. The victim's name, Carmen Gutierrez Rodriguez, wife of high-ranking Mexican Mafia member Andrew Verde Rodriguez. Now, Carmen, who was affectionately called Tia or Mom on the streets, was said to be a collector of the gang's taxes from Westside Verdugo street gang members whom Andrew Verde Rodriguez controlled. Verde was himself a Westside Verdugo gang member who had rose through the ranks to become a full-fledged Mexican Mafia member. However, it was said that in recent years, he had fallen out of favor with the Mexican Mafia, and those in the know said it was no surprise when Carmen Rodriguez came up dead. And just a few months after his own wife's murder, Andrew Rodriguez was found dead in his cell in April of 2017 inside Pelican Bay State Prison under, quote, suspicious circumstances, and the case remains open to this day.
41-year-old investigators in the Inland Empire have arrested 5 alleged gang members in the murder of a 41-year-old mother. Carmen Rodriguez was gunned down outside a San Bernardino cafe in January of last year. Rodriguez was the wife of a Mexican Mafia member who was doing time at Pelican Bay. Detectives believe other gang members ordered a hit on the mother of 5 from behind bars. Matthew Manzano, Eric Moreno, and Richard Garcia were all locked up when Rodriguez was killed. Isaac Aguirre and Robert Fernandez are believed to have carried out the hit. All 5 are facing murder charges.
Hey, 100. Bitch, I been a joint. Thought I wasn't. Stupid.
Really by the bag, what you thought this was? Blue run to my blunt, I be high as fuck. Before I busted a Glock, I had a knuckle up.
This morning, federal and local law enforcement fanned out across the city of San Bernardino in order to round up members of the Westside Verdugo street gang. Now, we're told the gang sweep targeted a total of 35 members, of which 24 were arrested during the raid. 10 are already in custody and 1 remains at large. According to the federal indictment, the violent street gang is responsible for the trafficking and distribution of drugs throughout Southern California on behalf of the Mexican Mafia. The investigation into the gang began in 2017 after gang intelligence got wind of a conspiracy. Authorities tell us that the gang members were purposely getting arrested in order to smuggle drugs into the county and city jail via their body cavity. Today's operation, dubbed Westside Guillotine, was aimed at disrupting the gang's activity.
Through the investigation, the task force identified the leadership structure of the Westside Verdugo gang, developed evidence involving the collection of extortion payments or taxes on behalf of the Mexican Mafia, and uncovered a large-scale methamphetamine and heroin distribution network.
First of all, the Westside Verdugo gang has been a menace to the city of San Bernardino for a long, long time. Through violence and distribution of drugs, they've created havoc in the city of San Bernardino, and this investigation will go a long way towards making this a much safer community in the long run.
Now, all 35 in that indictment will be facing a possible life sentence under the federal charge of conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance. Reporting.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Greenlit Gang TV. Hope y'all having a blessed day. Really quick before we jump into it, please, guys, if you would, like, subscribe, leave a comment. It really goes a long way for the growth of this channel. Okay, so today, I got a really good one for you guys. We're going to be talking about Andrew Verde from San Bernardino County, California. We're going to be talking about his rise through the Westside Verdugo street gang, ultimately into the Mexican Mafia. We're talking about his rise, his fall, which ultimately brought down basically his entire life. And when I say life, I mean his wife, Carmen Rodriguez, who, no matter what you want to say about the lives they lived, they loved each other. They were together for a very long time. She supported her husband. Even all this time he was locked up, he was never getting out. She rode with him all the way to her end. It's just a very unique, interesting story with a lot to unpack. First, though, I want to give a little background on Westside Verdugo Street Gang, a very large gang that's been around for decades. And again, shout out to United Gangs, the website. They do an awesome job. It's on Google. You can find it. So a little bit of background. The Verdugo gangsters consist of 3 Latino subsets called the Westside Verdugo, East Side Verdugo, and the South Side Verdugo, operating in different regions of San Bernardino, California. They made headlines after two of their leaders, who were brothers, were killed by childhood friends in a quadruple homicide case dubbed, quote, dead presidents by police. Verdugo is another name that is used for San Bernardino in the Mexican-American community, according to Bobby Vega, community leader and co-founder of the Urban Conservation Corps. The term Verdugo dates back to the 1940s, mostly used by Mexicans, Latinos, Chicanos as a geographical area for Hispanic in the West Side community. The West Side Verdugo, or WSV, combined are the largest Latino gang in the San Bernardino Valley, with origins dating back to the 50s. The West Side Verdugo, Mount Vernon Rifa cliques consisted of the 7th Street Locos, Sir Crazy Ones, and the Counts gang. Now, our guy, Andrew Huero Verde Verdugo, or Andrew Huero Verde Rodriguez, West Side Verdugo gang member. His particular clique was the Sir Crazy Ones, all right? Early gangs in the West Side Verdugo, Mount Vernon area in the San Bernardino during the 50s were the Toperos from El Barrio Topo, or Topo City, located around Gardena Street and Flores Street between 7th Street and 5th Street. The Toperos were mostly at war with gangs east of Mount Vernon Ave, East Side. And Andrews Rodriguez's clique, the West Side Verdugo Sir Crazy Ones, or Sir Crazy Ones, SCO, their territory roughly stretches from Baseline Street to 16th Street between Mount Vernon and the 215 Interstate Freeway. Their primary clique is the 14th Street, or Cal 14. They're also known for their prejudice towards police after Adrian Gutierrez, a Sir Crazy One member, was gunned down in 2010 by a police officer who also shot and killed a member from Inglewood 13 in 2008. So a little bit of background for you guys there. Now, Andrew Huero Verde Rodriguez, man, when I talk about gang life cost him everything, I really mean it cost him everything. At the time of his death, he was serving 115 to life at Pelican Bay State Prison. I want to give a shout out to an awesome page on Facebook and has other social media platforms, Prison Chronicles. I'm going to read from his post that he made about Andrew Huero Verde Rodriguez and his wife Carmen. I'm going to read about his post. Go check that page out. I'm telling you, great information, awesome information. Both Andrew Huero Verde Rodriguez and his wife Carmen are deceased. Carmen's murder was an assassination ordered by others in the Mexican Mafia and carried out by her husband's underlings in the West Side Verdugo gang, highlighting power struggles within the organization. Carmen Gutierrez Rodriguez was a mother of 5 children and was not directly involved in the gang's criminal activities herself. There were reports, though, that said she was doing collections for her husband, which I can fully see. I'm of the belief that she was doing that. Not that she was just some motherly figure. I believe that she was collecting money, doing favors, doing things that her husband needed to get done. That's just, doesn't mean she was a bad person. I think she was a great mom, great person, great loyal wife. I do. I genuinely believe that. But, it's just the lifestyle they chose. She was fatally shot at the age of 41 in the parking lot outside of Gabby's Cafe on North Mount Vernon Ave in San Bernardino in January of 2017 by members of her husband's own gang, the West Side Verdugo Street Gang, who until the last minute affectionately called her Tia, which means aunt in Spanish, and they even called her mom. God, excuse me, guys, my voice is still messed up. 3 months later, in April of 2017, this is crazy, Andrew Huero Verde Rodriguez would die in his prison cell at Pelican Bay State Prison under, quote, suspicious circumstances. And the case, according to authority, remains open. What they believe happened was that he was given a hot shot of dope, which means he's getting high, he's using drugs, and he's using heroin, which is very common amongst all of these gang members. That's one thing I want you guys to know when we're covering all these gang members, whether that's Mexican Mafia, Aryan Brotherhood, Nuestra Familia, you name it, right? A lot of them are dope fiends. That's no disrespect in any way, shape, or form. These guys have a lot of power. These guys have a lot of respect, but a lot of them are dope fiends. A lot of them sit in their cells most of the days playing God, but they're shooting dope, okay? And they think that they gave him a hot shot, which means you purposely cook up a hot shot of dope. I don't need to get into, you guys already know what it is. I don't need to get into, specific details. And it was given to him, and it looks, basically, when they investigate within the prison, it just looks like an overdose, right? And they can't really prove, was he killed, was he not, but a few months after your wife's death, they said he had fell out of favor with the Mexican Mafia, Okay, a little bit on our guy, Andrew Huero Verde's background. He was made a carnale, which means he was made Mexican Mafia member in 2009. At the time, he was the first West Side Verdugo member to be made since the 90s. That's a big deal. His close friend and associate, Turi Estrada, vouched for him. Due to Turi's vast influence within eMe, Huero quickly climbed the ranks, amassed power, and found himself collecting taxes from gangs in San Bernardino. Though his wife and secretary, Carmen Rodriguez, or through his wife and secretary. See, so that's the differing reports. The one post says she never did anything within the criminal underworld, and this says he was collecting these taxes and other things that need to be done through his wife, who they called her secretary, or his secretary, Carmen Rodriguez. This was a position formerly held by Salvador Toro Hernandez, but Toro allegedly relinquished the position after he was indicted by the feds. However, by 2016, after his close friend Turi was stripped of most of his power, Andrew Verde Rodriguez found himself falling out of favor and was placed on the disregard status. Man, that's crazy. His wife was murdered in early 2017. So 2016, he's disregard status. By the very beginning of 2017 in January, his wife is murdered by members of his own gang on orders from eMe, as was his brother shortly after. Didn't get any information on that, but they say his brother was killed as well. And then months later, he's found dead in a cell inside Pelican Bay under suspicious circumstances. And that, guys, is the anatomy and the outcome that so many people do not talk about with gang life. And don't get me wrong, I love content like this. I love watching channels like this. I love watching videos like this. But it's important to talk about the reality of where these choices and this sort of path will take you. Okay? Now, the article about Carmen Gutierrez Rodriguez's murder. This was from July 18th of 2018. This was after arrests were made. Investigators in the Inland Empire arrested 5 alleged gang members in the murder of 41-year-old mother and wife of a Mexican Mafia member. Carmen Rodriguez was gunned down outside a San Bernardino cafe in January of 2017. She was married to then Mafia member Andrew Rodriguez, who was in custody at Pelican Bay State Prison at the time, according to a San Bernardino Police Department press release that was made public this week. Detectives believe other gang members ordered a hit on the mother of 5 from behind bars. 3 of them that they indicted in this were locked up. 2 of them they say were the shooters. After the murder of Carmen Rodriguez, a task force was created with several local and federal law enforcement agencies to target gang members in prison, attempting to influence city street gangs as well as to identify the mother's killers. Evidence led to the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office to file murder and gang enhancement charges 44-year-old Isaac Aguirre, 43-year-old Robert Fernandez, 30-year-old Eric Moreno, 45-year-old Richard Garcia, and 35-year-old Matthew Manzano for the murder of Carmen Rodriguez. Manzano, Moreno, and Garcia were all locked up when the woman was killed. Aguirre and Fernandez are believed to have carried out the hit. This is a really good story, a little bit of a backstory and outcome of those charged. This is an article from August 19th, 2022. And this is crazy. Isaac Aguirre, who was charged with involvement in that conspiracy murder, the 2017 revenge murder of the wife of a prominent member of the Mexican Mafia in San Bernardino, was acquitted. So Isaac Aguirre beat his murder rap, was acquitted last month on all charges against him. Prosecutors for 5 years pressed forward with investigators' theory that 5 people with extensive criminal histories and gang affiliation, including Aguirre, were involved in killing Carmen Gutierrez Rodriguez, the wife of Andrew Rodriguez, as she was walking in the parking lot outside Gabby's Cafe on North Mount Vernon Avenue on January 18th, 2017. According to investigators, Eric Moreno, Matthew Manzano, Robert Fernandez Jr., Richard Garcia, and Aguirre worked in concert to send a message to Andrew Rodriguez, a fellow gang member who had been convicted of armed robbery and was contemplating cooperating with authorities as part of a deal to see his sentence reduced. That's her husband, okay? So they were saying Andrew Verde Rodriguez basically gets put out. He's on the no-good list. From there, he might be going, you know what? These guys don't want nothing to do with me. These guys probably want me dead. They could probably kill my family. What's my purpose? You know, I'm not out. Before he's an outcast, he's a made guy. He's calling shots. Even though he's locked up, wife's coming to see him, collecting money. She's doing good on the streets. People loving her, calling her mom, calling her aunt. And Andrew Verde Rodriguez loses all his power. He's stripped of everything, put on the no-good list. From there, things change. And he goes, you know what? I don't want to be in here forever. Maybe I want to get out. Maybe I want to spend time with my wife. Things change, right? So they're thinking, you know what? He's contemplating this. The Mexican Mafia goes, yeah, we're not taking any chances. Wipe them out. Maria del Carmen Gutierrez Rodriguez, mother of 5 who lived in the North Hills neighborhood of the Sepulveda district in the San Fernando Valley, was lured to San Bernardino where she was gunned down, shot 4 times in the upper torso in the early evening of January 18th, 2017. Wouldn't really say early evening. According to the police report, it was like 9:30 at night. It was the contention of prosecutors that Andrew Rodriguez, a member of the West Side San Bernardino Verdugo gang who graduated into the Mexican Mafia while he was serving the 115-year to life 3-strike armed robbery sentence at Pelican Bay State Prison, possessed information that was highly prejudicial to the prison gang, La eMe, which has ties to the Verdugos, and he was about to give it up. Prosecutors contend that while they were yet in prison, Moreno, Garcia, and Manzano plotted and orchestrated Carmen Rodriguez's killing. Fernandez and Aguirre were accused of being the triggermen in Carmen Rodriguez's death. In addition to murder, Aguirre was accused of being a felon in possession of a handgun the night of the shooting. Subsequently, the Mexican Mafia took out a contract on Andrew Rodriguez, according to prosecutors, and he was slain just a little more than 3 months after his wife's death while incarcerated at Pelican Bay on April 20th, 2017. On July 11th, 2018, the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office filed murder charges against all 5 of the men. Get this, okay? Get this. This is what I found out. 4 days later, on July 15th, 2018, remember they said Eric Moreno was one of the guys who was locked up? Moreno, who was then 30 and in custody as an inmate in Kern Valley State Prison, was killed by his cellmate, 36-year-old Daniel Ogwin, I put his picture up, who was likewise a gang member from San Bernardino, and he was serving a life sentence for a torture murder. And it said that Eric Moreno's death was as brutal as they come. It said that he was hogtied and basically strangled to death. This is just crazy, man, how all this stuff works itself out. Article August 24th, 2022, that just talks about Moreno's particular death at the hands of Daniel Ogwin. That's just crazy, man. You get, basically charged with this murder, and 4 days later, you yourself are hogtied and murdered in your cell. It's just crazy. Here comes some of the outcomes of, so Isaac Aguirre gets off. Fernandez pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter and street gang terrorism in 2018. Richard Garcia pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter in 2019. He got 30 years. Manzano was convicted of murder in the case, and in 2020, he was given 25 to life. Aguirre, this is crazy, man, I give this guy credit, resisted multiple plea deal bargains, overtures from prosecutors, electing to roll the dice and go to trial, in the course of which it was demonstrated that Aguirre was not, as the prosecution contended, in good standing with either the Mexican Mafia or the Verdugo gang at the time of the Carmen Rodriguez's slaying, which gangland expert witnesses said would have made it highly unlikely that he would have been entrusted with the assignment of assaulting the victim. And I believe that 100%. And that's just crazy, man, how the government and the state can get you wrapped up in something. I actually do. I believe he was innocent. But man, guys, I hope this one kind of makes you think. Haven't talked about it in a while, but sobriety is a big thing for me. This next March 10th, 2026, I will celebrate 6 years by the grace of God of sobriety. And obviously, I was never a gang member or anything like that. But what I'm talking about is just choices, right? Men, women, we have choices. Every day we have choices, right, in life. Whether, and I look back when I was running and gunning and using for the better part of a decade, and I think about a lot of times where I made the wrong decision, right? And there's moments in my mind, in my life that I've thought about that come back to me when I was using, and I deep down I knew what the right decision was to make, but it seemed like I always chose the wrong one. And that literally made me almost homeless, if it wasn't for an ex-girlfriend, completely broke, fired more times than I could count from numerous jobs, spending holidays in detox, spending holidays in treatment centers, waking up in jails. I woke up in county jail one time from a DUI because I had mixed so many prescription drugs. I don't remember going in. I just woke up. I was in county. And, right, we all got a story. But anyway, this one just absolutely crazy. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Till next time. Peace.